So yeah, I didn't. We were redoing a few things in the overlay, and I did like mute or hide everything to work on OBS. But yeah, so people probably didn't hear a thing of what we were saying.
No, because I also have the stream up on my computer, and I see you talking, but I do not see anything.
Okay, so let's do this again. Hey guys, welcome to the DL's Titan League Season 4 kickoff. This is going to be the first game of the season between Revenge Nation and Breakpoint Esports. This time, technical errors free. So, I will be your host, Hans, and to the left of me, there is going to be Dualrogue. We were talking about the teams. We were talking about how good they are, how great contenders they are to kick off the game or kick off the season, because the match that we're going to get is going to be amazing. I never sang on stream before. Yeah, Revenge Nation, this is what you were saying before, so why don't you go over this shtick again?
Okay, so I'm going to give my little rehash about Revenge Nation again. So they have not lost in the whole grand scheme of things. In the qualifiers, they didn't lose except for by a forfeit, which, as you said earlier, was because they were in another league at that time and they had another match. Correct. So might as well go play for that. You know, they have already won every game, so you know what, go play in another league. That's fine. You can afford to lose one. And also, as I was saying, in the tournament this weekend, they blew past everybody. Only one game that they faced went to an 8-6 overtime scoreline. But besides that, I don't think many people got past, you know, a 7-4, 7-5 scoreline for Revenge Nation.
Remind me who they were up against during the weekend, because that's, you know, that kind of opponent we'd like to see more of, you know? But man, with that, you know, with that slight detail being put aside, the map ban has been underway for quite some time. It's actually finished now. So the first match that we're going to be seeing, it will be on Oregon, and the second one will be on Cafe. If needed, the tiebreaker will go to Consulates, and this has been in the Pro League way of doing things for a long time, but I did not want to update the rules mid-season last season or last time around. And so the map ban way of waiting till we hit the third map to see who starts where, to basically give the team that's won the most amount of rounds decide. That is the first time we're doing so. So I'm kind of stating the obvious, but it might not be exactly obvious to longtime viewers of this league. Yep. So I believe at this point, the only thing that we're going to have to do is to get the players in the lobby and get things rolling in a way. Just to respond to the hypothetical question that we had asked before, probably Impact Beta, correct?
What was the question?
So
yes.
Revenge Nation, yeah, because they played Impact Beta in the grand final.
Let me actually look super quickly. I can scroll through past videos. I'm trying to think off the top of my head.
Impact, they played.
Was it
they played Impact? They played Impact Crew at the last during the last tournament.
So it wasn't when they went to Coastline, because
doesn't really matter. It really doesn't change that much. So yes, the players are getting invited into the lobby, but let's talk about Breakpoint Esports a little bit. It feels to me like Revenge Nation has gotten all of the attention, and it probably, you know, we probably should also give some attention to Breakpoint Esports. They were formerly known as Title Breakpoint. Maybe you may know them as that, you know, team name. There were like a lot of people tied for fourth and then second place, because a lot of teams had 8 points, which basically means 4 victories and 2 losses. 4 teams in total had this track record, to be precise, including Breakpoint Esports. So, you know, having a 4-2 win-loss ratio, still pretty good, you know? And I've got to say, I usually don't single people out, but when it's for a good cause or when it's, you know, to praise them, why not? Oni, I'm not sure if he's the IGL or just like the one rep for the team, but his energy, he's the one guy I was talking to when registering the team, talking about like scheduling, map ban, getting teammates in, all that good stuff. And his energy is just so amazing, right? He comes in, asks questions, but not just as in, we got to get this done, as in like it's actually fun and entertaining and I have the drive to get this done. And I really cannot put it into words because it's like an ambiance or a feeling, so to say. But it is such a nice person to interact with. So Breakpoint Esports, on the one hand, will win brownie points for being fun to be around. Not that it's not the case with Revenge Nation, but Breakpoint really do get the bonus points to have that special kind of drive.
Exactly, and so as we are going forward here, we are going to be seeing the bans go out, and we are going to Oregon first. Revenge Nation have the 2 outer bans, while Breakpoint has the 2 inner bands. I feel like it's a pretty typical ban, and honestly, a Thatcher ban is not going to be had today. That's actually very surprising. I don't remember the last time I casted and a Thatcher ban was not here, but I have a feeling they did that for a very specific reason.
They probably did that. Yeah. There's like reasons for everything. I also want to note that we did allow for Flores to be played. So we're not exactly synced with the Ubisoft seasons, right? So instead of updating the rules, say 3 weeks in to say Thunderbird's not allowed, Flores is, we're just going to jump the gun in order to not... It might be a bit rough to call it a bait and switch, but, the players came into the league expecting one set of rules, and I don't want to change it from under them, which is exactly what we are going to be doing here. And so, yes, maybe expect Flores to be played, but that remains to be seen. It's a possibility, not a guaranteed.
Sorry, I'm messing around with my volume right quick. But
all good.
I believe, and I could be wrong, is this where they went into overtime? They being Revenge Nation, or was that another map?
I don't believe it was on Oregon. I could not tell you where it was, but I don't think it was on Oregon. You know what? So let's just...
either. It was the second match. It was before. Qued said we lost 8-6 on Chalet versus...
Yeah,
Revenge
that
Nation.
was it. Chalet,
okay.
That was it.
Okay, gotcha. So it was Chalet. Whoever they faced there, I feel like they beat them like either 7-4 or 7-3. So we have seen them play on this map multiple times already. So I imagine we're not going to see too much of a difference here, but we have not seen Breakpoint on this map at all yet. So it's going to be interesting to see how they change compared to Revenge Nation.
Yeah, I mean, it's always kind of rock, paper, scissors, right? Every single playstyle has a way to be countered, except maybe Rook, because how do you counter a Rook plate? You got a headshot, but then again, don't you always got a headshot? And I just remember this one schematic where, for example, Thatcher is a counter to Mute, Jaeger is a counter to Thatcher, and all those lines to the operators, and Rook had like nobody lined up to him with the red line, so that was kind of funny. Same for Doc. But I am digressing so hard. Every single playstyle has a way to be countered. So it comes down to the question, which playstyle feels most natural, or are they most accustomed to? Both teams. And both teams, are they naturally playing the weakness of this specific opponent team? Because that's a question that you got to ask again and again for every match that you're going to be playing.
Exactly. And also Breakpoint has tons of odds for Revenge Nation on this map because they've played it before. They've been playing in tournaments, and we cast those as well. And as you can see here, maybe that's what's happening right now as Trev Mack actually goes down, and he is the first pick onto Breakpoint as they are making their way into this map.
Yep. I mean, Castle, as far as first picks go, he's not that bad because, Castle barricades are up. He's pretty much got the weakest gun in the game, so his death isn't that big of a loss. But there's somebody in the freezer stairs that has not been spotted out. There's a drone, there's a ping, and that's another kill for Kenny. Yep, flurry of kills happening really, really quickly. I gotta say, like 1 minute 40 left on the clock, already down to a 3v3. This is definitely not shaping up to be anything looking like a 20 seconds meta.
No, it is not, and so about a minute and a half left, and I feel like what's hurting Breakpoint right now is they are not necessarily droning out. As you could see, the Yana went down on the those white stairs because they were looking the wrong way. And if maybe they were getting droned out, they would have said, their teammates would have said, hey, there's somebody coming, you know? And maybe he would have still been alive. But Kenny with the double kill is going to be a huge impact as he's still alive. So I believe he still has one Echo drone up, and there's still 2 C4s left on the table. And so with a minute left, they actually make that 1 C4 left on the table, as there's going to be some kills coming in from the bug from downstairs, going to get the mute. And so about a minute left, Revenge Nation just has to make sure that they stay in this bomb side area and kind of slow down the attackers just a little bit more, and so that they can secure this 20-second meta.
Yeah, because I gotta say, anything still seems possible. I really like to see what Buck was doing. It's not an unusual tactic, right? You don't see it too often, which should give them the advantage of surprise, and it did. I mean, he got a kill. But he's gonna go down as soon as he tries to go up the stairs, and right here on, he was stuck in the Melusi, and that's gonna be a double kill for Kenny. Big Eye with an actual cell. I'm not sure if that was technically the last kill, or was it like somebody who was down earlier on?
It was.
It was. Yeah. So, and that guy went flying.
That was actually a ace still, because Kenny got 4 kills right there. Apparently, if you put that man on Echo, he's going to regret. It'll make you regret that day. So, Revenge Nation taking their first round win, and honestly, I wouldn't expect anything different. Revenge Nation, when they played in the tournament, they pretty much had a structured, quote unquote, defense there. There wasn't many flaws in their defense. And the fact that they're starting it out on defense right now on Oregon of all maps, I believe this is going to be a uphill battle for Breakpoint right now.
Yeah, I mean, the scores were surprisingly tied early on, right? So I suppose Breakpoint could do it if they were to not choke on the end, because it was a 3v2 at some point. So Breakpoint had the upper hand, but you know, it's a different playstyle or a different setting when you're down to a few players, half of our utility is gone, health points are running low as well. And how do you do when you can't push with 5 full players watching, like drones, flanks, flashing, doing all that stuff? How do you adapt to the situation at hand? And whenever things start going south, any team is not too quick to reacting or to improvising in those situations. This is where things can fall apart pretty quickly. Revenge Nation, they didn't stutter on that front, and Breakpoint, I gotta say, like, big window, that's somewhat a weak of an entrance. I mean, vaulting is so predictable, and it's so easy to shut down. There was the one attempt in white stairs, but it was not enough, you know? It really wasn't.
But it really wasn't, but I just want to point out an unorthodox kind of defense right now is that Revenge Nation, they barricaded all of the L shaped barricade, and they kind of just blew out some holes, and so that L shape is not going to be played by anybody right now, and that's not typically what you see on the basement defense. But speaking of, Kenny's actually going to go down, the main man of the hour in the last round, and he is going to go down.
Why is he saying R? Like, is he just ready to start the game?
A little bit delayed there.
Yeah, you know, for example, right here, once again, Breakpoint Esports have the upper hand, but there's like a lot of different stuff that can go wrong within the 2 minutes remaining to the game. You're gonna see that the defense is really spread out, right? For example, right there, how do you pronounce that gamer tag? I have mispronounced gamer tag one time too many, and now I am going to be very paranoid. Yijel?
Yijel, maybe?
Yijel?
I'm not a...
Chat, to correct us, Buck. Buck is going to realize there's somebody they're an addict, but that's going to cost him 80% of his health points. So yeah, when I was saying a lot of things can go wrong, it's not too hard to drone somebody up, but Revenge Nation really do know what they're doing. They have castle barricades, reinforcements, and rotation holes in strategic pre-placed or pre-arranged spots. They're definitely not improvising or going at it, as they go, which really makes for a difficult roam clear for Breakpoint, right? Kenny died early on. We're not even talking about this anymore because it's old news. And that was just to clear 2 floors above the bomb site. Like, in the back of my head, I was wondering, is the bomb in meeting hall? And I, misread something there? Because we were truly seeing that many roamers on the top floor. Speaking of, there's still somebody around Z-shaped hallway. Oh, that looks like castle silhouettes. Big guy right there.
Left castle silhouette, and if this is not drawn correctly, it's going to be really big for big guy, so to speak. And he's actually going to get a kill, and he can maybe pick up a double, but he's going to try to rotate away, and he's going to be taken down. So now it's a 4v2 as Empress is going to make their way into the laundry area, make that a technically a 3v2 as the Nomads hasn't gone down yet. And there's just kills coming in from the defense right now as Trev Mac is still alive. And actually, Skunky's going to get the kill right now. So 1v2 very quickly in the side of Revenge Nation. And Asher does not have a lot of health left. 7 seconds left. He has the fuser, though, but he's going to have to start playing. But I don't think that's his plan here as he rotates in. And he's going to be taken out by Skunky, who's just waiting with a shotgun.
Yeah. Well, like I was saying, you got the upper hand, but you got to keep it.
And that's exactly what did not happen with Breakpoint. They were in the perfect position. They were 4v2, but they were just not winning their gunfights. It didn't seem like they knew where everybody was because they were just getting killed. And who was playing the Travnik? He got his shotgun and his pistol kill. So it's also maybe that they didn't win their gunfights, which happens every now and then. So Breakpoint, you've got to win those if you want to even try to go up against Revenge Nation right now, because if you don't, Revenge Nation is going to punish you.
Oh, Kenny's saying, I think this is the wrong server. So to the observer, just hit the select button on the controller, or F10, or the click top right corner of the screen, and let's check that. It's on West. Yep. It's supposed to be Central. Yep. Yeah, we're gonna have to rehost. Slight mistakes. It does happen. Of course, let's make sure that we have noted down the band operators and the round's history, but it shouldn't be too hard to remember. Revenge Nation won both at the top and the bottom floor. You know, that's the kind of thing, right? The game is going to make you auto-select the closest server to you. And when you're not cautious, you just like create the new game and like don't change the default go-to server that is being suggested. So just to help out here, so of course, like create the new custom game as before. Like create online, but this is where right here, select the playlist. Yep, here data center. So Central US is what you're looking for. We're gonna have like say like us as the spectators will maybe have Central US. There you go. 109 milliseconds of ping. We like even if we were to see everything say 5 seconds delayed, we would still see like a smooth stream with 5 seconds of delay. And since we're no players, since we don't care if like our view is spot on, it wouldn't matter too much.
Exactly.
Leave match replay on. Leave match replay on. But yeah, everything else just as it was, right? So this is gonna be 2 orange victories for kids dorms. Yep, orange victory once.
Orange.
Yep, there we go. And another round history. This time's going to be in the basement. So that's going to be laundry and what's the other called?
Laundry
supply room. There you go. Okay, yeah. So the last things that we have to do is to add the band operators back in, which were
Ace,
Mira,
Ash,
Goyo, and Ash. So Ace would be the cards, the aces at the bottom of the left side. I gotta say, the producer is not Goya. Ash is the same column, the one at the very top. Our producer is not a Rainbow Six player, but she's helping out so much. So, for example, which logo belongs to which band operator? Yes, this one. This is the kind of stuff that she doesn't know too well. So just click here. And on the right side, so the last column to the right, the last one at the bottom, the Vulcan shield, the Vulcan logo. This one and 2 icons above. The purple one is Mira. Yep. So last thing. Yeah. So now you just go back.
You just close
those
it.
are good. Yeah. So team names and band operator. Why are they not showing? Oh. Like so, but no, you just hit escape to go back, and that's yep, and just hit escape to go back, and that's basically gonna be it. There you go. Okay, so team names and get the players back in, and you're gonna be good to go.
Make sure you added the 2 rounds, because I think you only added 1.
Was it? Let's just make sure. I want to hit Alt real quick. If you scroll down. Nope, they're both there. They're both there.
Okay, cool.
All good, all good. Okay, but let's talk about what we were seeing. This game was looking, I gotta say, it's looking really interesting, right? Because Revenge Nation are winning their rounds. So yes, they're getting the early lead here. However, Breakpoint Esports, what's missing is just a bit of team cohesion. They must just not crumble once they got the initial lead, because in both cases, they had the lead at some point, but it slipped through their fingers. So just don't lose what you already got, and you got a winning recipe on your hands. But that's the hard part,
It really is. And, we were just talking about everything that was just happening. They had a 2v4. They could have won that. It was within their grasp, but it all fell apart there at the end. I'm not sure what was a miscommunication or anything about that, so I'm not exactly sure what they were talking about. But a 4v2 where you have to win those, and as I said before, if you don't, or if you slip up even a second, Revenge Nation is going to be there to punish you time after time after time. And we saw exactly what just happened, and that is what happened.
Yeah, Revenge Nation are a team to be reckoned with. Breakpoints are not to be underestimated, but I kind of feel like by default we do expect Revenge Nation to win, and I really I am like weighing my words here, because we gotta remain neutral as the our referees, as the managers and everything. Sweet asking what happened wrong.
I gotcha.
Yeah, it's faster this way than to say it out loud, because in that case, like we can short circuit the delay. So, Revenge Nation, my question, and I've seen them play before, so I should know this. They're gonna go in, I believe, meeting hall.
I believe
instead of
that's
going
where
like,
they
kitchen and dining. Yeah, I didn't pay attention to that the first time around. That's on me. Oh, Ani playing Amaru.
Oh, we're going to see an Amaru rush. I believe that's going to be 6-picked. I'd be very surprised if it wasn't 6-picked off, because they are going to the first floor. Never mind.
It will not be 6-picked off.
Interesting. I wonder if they're going to try and go to the second floor and just rush down and try and catch some of these roamers off guard, which, looking around, you wouldn't expect many of these people to be roaming around. Maybe the castle a little bit, but as historically said, he has the worst gun in the game. So you may be seeing Chosen on the Jaeger roaming around pretty well, and I believe that's his role, and that's what we saw him do a lot in the past, is just roaming around with the Jaeger, wasting as much time as possible. So I imagine that Lonnie's going to try and go to the second floor and just try and brute force this, kind of.
I totally get what you're saying. Past experience would tell me to be cautious with that expectation, because remember how Revenge Nation do like to set up an extended hold? And I mean, during the very last round, we're in the basement and they were roaming, anchoring, like they had castle barricades, reinforcements, and rotation holds 2 floors above.
Yep.
So this remains to be seen. The roaming playstyle isn't like the sneaky vigil who will get spotted out, run away, like shoot the drone off course, and then force the attackers to drone him out again. So yeah, it's not exactly roaming, it's proxy anchoring, but we may debate semantics as much as we want. At the end of the day, Revenge Nation will be holding onto a larger chunk of the map, which in Revenge means that also every single map that they're holding or room that they're holding onto, goddammit, is going to be weaker defended, because there's not going to be that many people in there.
Yeah, and so really, Revenge Nation, they have a pretty interesting playstyle right now, and as we see, it works. They're doing well, and so they must be having that's very unfortunate. Kenny heard that come up, and Big Guy, he's also going to get a kill as well. And that's the only thing about Amaru, is that once she does her little grappling hook, it's very loud, and they knew exactly where it was coming from.
Yeah. I gotta say, that was one ballsy move. Which is why I didn't expect it to work. But you still do like to see that, right? On another note, surprisingly enough, because this is the tertiary bomb site, which by its mere definition means you should see the hardest time for the defense to actually work something out. And yet, this is the first time they're not going to get the initial, downhill kind of situation for Revenge Nation, which they somehow every single time manage to climb back out of. This time, they're really just stomping all over Breakpoint Esports, and there doesn't seem to be anything they can do about that, leaving us with Yigel. I'm still not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly. IQ with, say, 5 HP, so one even zap of the Maestro camera could be fatal. Chosen goes down, but Maestro with the pistol on top of that at that range, the shotgun. Yeah, that is just rubbing it in the wrong way,
It really is, and honestly, Revenge Nation right now are feeling themselves as they're just doing what they need to do. They just completed a perfect cycle, and so now they can go back up to the second floor and just keep on doing exactly what I said, doing what they need to do. And we are seeing what exactly Revenge Nation can do right now.
If I can open up a quick little parenthesis, somebody asked, or Mutinix ask when GNE's match is going to be. They have yet to schedule their match, but I just checked in their match channel. They were talking about maybe playing it Sunday nights. So tentative Sunday nights, yet remains to be seen. It might be that at that time, it might not be.
Attackers need to locate and
this is all I gotta say. And Hold On also is making an astute observation. They're not playing Thatcher while he's still on the board, while he's not been banned. And it looks like it took them 3 rounds to decide to pick him because, for example, it's going to make breaching, like hard breaching, so much easier. Hard breaching is a big part of the game, and arguably one that's been overlooked for the first few rounds. Remember how Breakpoint, the very first round, tried to funnel through a big window near the end? That was just doomed to fail. Why not open up like the go-to rotation holes that you want to create? And this time with both a Thatcher and a Thermite, assuming those don't get shot at, through a spawn kit or something, it should make things really easy for them.
Yeah, and I honestly think that in round 1, I don't even think we saw a hard breacher. I could be wrong there. Somebody will correct me, but we also haven't even seen a Maverick being played where when I think Oregon, I would think that if somebody's going to second floor, we're going to try and get either attic door open or big wall open. So there's, these walls, all these walls that need to be open or can be open to help you succeed in this attack, and they haven't done any of that yet.
I mean, Breakpoint's push, they do tend to be quite unorthodox. It worked, in the first few rounds, in the early stages of those both rounds, but it slipped through their fingers later on. But then again, Yigel is going to get their first pick. Trademark goes down. He's down but not out. He's going to get revived. So, at the end of the day, 5v4 situation. Once again, Breakpoint taking the early lead. I do hope for them that they won't lose that. But as I say, this kid gets the pick. And once again, kind of odd behavior if I was to be the judge of that. Because Kenny's playing with Echo, the kind of operator you want to keep alive for till the end of the round, and yet he's the first line of defense, which is, a contradiction in and of itself. But hey, if it works, who am I to judge? I say as he gets another kill.
He should have definitely died there from the way it looked on our screen. But, you were talking about Kenny and how you want to keep the Echo alive. Before the rehost, he had a quad kill as Echo. It didn't even look like he was on his drones for pretty much all of them. I think he's just putting them in situations and saying, hey, teammates, look at my drones. I'm going to frag out while you tell me where they are, pretty much. And as we do hear an Echo going off, there's a couple of trades coming in. So now 1v4 as Ash is just in that little location in the walk-in closet, and Kenny actually is going to go down, making it in 1v2. He still has a minute left, but I don't believe there's many drones that he has, and he's going to try and throw his grenades, but it's going to be caught by an ADS. And so he has to slowly but surely make his way in as he's going to actually get a very nice kill onto Chosen, and a C4 is going to come out by a big guy, making it a 1v1 situation. 45 seconds left.
It's doable, and that's going to be the first one for Breakpoints. He was in a tough spot there because he had somebody on his left side by the like big window area and somebody else over here in kids bunks, or should I say attic at the beginning of the 2v1 situation. So he was kind of pinched and managed to isolate his opponents. That was, you know, very well done. But then again, I just want to take a step back and just insist on what I was saying before. If they were to breach attic, because with both a Thatcher and a Thermite, that would have been trivially easy, that one player in attic would have been flushed out, you know, in a blink of an eye. So once again, maybe not doing the expected thing. In that instance, it worked, but in the previous instances, it definitely did not. So the track record, though improving, still is not looking too great. But it's not too late to get either a 4-2 split, which would be quote-unquote equal-sided, as the defense here is favored by the nature of the map, or if they were to even pull off a 3-3 split for the roll time, or for the halftime mark, for the roll split. Yeah, roll time mark does not exist. Yeah.
And as you were saying, a 3-3 split right now for Breakpoint, it's doable. Anything in this game is doable, but they're going to have to play just like... Actually, no, they're not going to have to play like they did last round. It came down to a 1v, you know, X situation, and they had to clutch up. I don't think they can do that for 2 more rounds in a row. Not saying that they're not good players or anything like that. I'm just saying that it's very hard to keep on clutching after clutching after clutching and still keep on going after that, because it's the, you know, it's the first one to basically 7 rounds and you win unless you go into overtime. Can anybody really clutch for that many rounds in a row? It's possible, but you would be exhausted, and we still have another map to go after this. This is not a best of 1. This is a best of 3.
Yeah, absolutely. So, you know, in an ideal scenario, you wouldn't be in a clutch situation to begin with, because that is a mistake in and of itself. But right here, Breakpoint are going for the more classical thing, right? Smoking everything out. I don't think there was an extended hole, as there's no... Yeah, right there. There was no smoke, or I don't know who else could be holding onto that angle. But right now, Hibana will be breaching. Empress gets the first kill on Kenny, so that's going to be the nasty Roma. Top fragger of his team 2 off the board. It's looking good for Breakpoint Esports. We've said that in the past, but I feel like they're starting to wake up. So I'm not as worried for them as I was before. But I say this as 2 kills on the attacking team, or 2 deaths on the attacking team, are going to erupt, which would give the upper hand back to Revenge Nation.
And so with the upper hand on the Revenge Nation, they've been in these situations before. We're not going to see them get really too greedy in this moment. It's a minute and a half left, and they're up 1 person. But, you know, them being up 1 person, they might as well be up more, because, like I said, we're not going to see them get greedy anytime soon. They're not going to do wild swing outs. They're not going to do wild stretch right now. As we see, there's actually not really too much of a trade go on, and now it is down to another clutch situation. Empress in a 1v3, minute and 15 seconds left. They know that there's somebody up there above, and they're going to be getting call outs on the hatch. But, you know, anybody right now can come from anyway. They're going to have to pick up the diffuser, and somebody's playing in freezer, and it doesn't look like they know exactly where they are, and they're going to get it shot exactly from freezer. And Big Guy's going to be taking down Empress, making it a round win for Revenge Nation.
Yeah, Revenge, I mean, they have a really interesting setup, having 3 or 2 roamers, I'm no longer sure. Like, they're running back and forth, right? In meeting hall to the hatch to make sure that nobody goes through that little room. I'm still not sure how exactly you call that room. And then having like a few more players to just watch the flanks of that guy looking at the hatch, right? So that means that Breakpoint, if they were to play it solely from the bottom floor, they basically had to go through pillar and then the corridor, or the breach in the wall. But that severely limits your mobility in a very broad sense. They lost 2 guys before they realized that like the one angle was to be avoided, and they reacted reasonably well after that. You know, their movements were a bit more cautious, and it worked as far as not dying was concerned. But that in and of itself doesn't mean that they were getting kills or that they were making progress, which once again comes back to, you know, the momentum thing. If you get stopped dead in your tracks, this gives a lot of time to the defenders to turn around, to react to where you are, because at the beginning of the game, they're gonna have people everywhere because they don't know where you're gonna be coming from. But give them 2 seconds to react, and then you're bogged down, and you're gonna be bogged down hard. We didn't see Breakpoint rotating, which is maybe something they should have done. I'm not really going to delve into that right now. But then again, this is, the general, I would say, outline of the round that we just witnessed, which really shines a light on what was missing on the attack and what the defense did well. So, depending on who you're rooting for, you might hope for those situations to happen again, or maybe not.
Yep, and kind of just what you were touching on, Breakpoint started out that round really well. They very quickly made it into sight, and it's just they kind of crumbled there towards the end. So the game's not over yet, but going into round 6, I wouldn't be surprised if this is maybe a 4-2 split. Breakpoint has the potential to win this round right now. They just gotta play it a little bit slowly than what they've been. We've seen them come down to, 1vx or whatever situation with about a minute left, and that's still a lot of time. Obviously, you don't want to go too far, and Trevmac, as I'm talking, is going to get the first kill into Squeaky, and I think that's a little bit of what I was talking about. They knew that somebody was in there, and they started peeking it, and that's where it just kind of crumbled right there. If they didn't peek it and maybe waited just a little bit longer, maybe they could have set up the attack to where they could have got that kill instead of Squeaky going down instead.
I want to underline the fact that Kenny, even though we're not exactly seeing much of him right now, is playing with a shotgun, which is not something you might expect. Furthermore, he has 4 of his bandit batteries in the back pocket, so either he's penetrating hard, which I think is the case actually looking at his current positioning, or he was playing the operator solely for the gun, which would have been really surprising. And right here, he's going to peek really quickly. There's a flash that may make him vulnerable. Apparently not, because he really seems to know what he's doing right now. Yeah, he's the single linchpin of that defense. Somebody's down, going for the kill. That's aggressive. Kind of caught off guard, caught out in the open, but there's a thermite right there! And he gets the pick. That's Diffuser now down, looking for another kill. This seems to be Ani, I want to say, from the silhouettes. With the pistol, he gets it! And the last one's going to be Yijai, as we've been told by Chai, it's an I and not an L. He tries as much as he can, but he dies to the UMP-45. Shall we repeat that? It is the weakest gun in the game, so a bit of a humiliation on top of that. But he was last BR alive. Didn't really expect him to make it out of there alive. So yeah, he tried as much as he could, and he got overwhelmed at the end.
I don't know exactly what Kenny eats for like dinner or pre-games or whatever, but whatever he eats, I feel like I need to eat as well, because this man so far is unstoppable. He's doing really well, and I believe he played Bandit last time they went to Oregon and everything, and he brought the shotgun again. That could have been somebody else, I'm not 100% sure. But when they did that, whoever it was, if it was Kenny, they got multiple kills, just like what we just saw. And so maybe, Bandit shotgun's the new meta. I don't know. But Revenge Nation, they are on a tear right now. They are doing everything right.
That sounds like a rotation shotgun hold that went wrong.
Oh, yeah, somebody got hurt. Oh, no.
But yeah, going back to the Kenny shotgun thing, you're totally right. I mean, Jaeger, or I should say his gun, has been nerfed recently. So seeing Jaeger trade the 416 for the shotgun, unironically, isn't that uncommon anymore. The MP7 has been nerfed somewhat, but, less so than the 416, which once again, upholds the argument which states that if you were to see a M870, it should rather be on Jaeger than on Bandit. But hey, who am I to judge, I suppose? If it works, and it definitely did, I mean, it works.
It really does, and a very unorthodox start to the defense here as Breakpoint's actually going down to the first floor. Not many teams start here. Either they go down to the second floor or the basement, so maybe they're trying out something new, or maybe that's just where they wanted to go, and this is the strats that they have for their first defense on Oregon. Or maybe Oregon's just not their strong suit, as they are actually down 5-1 right now, and I feel like Revenge Nation's actually Oregon's, that's their map, but Kenny's going to be taking a lot of damage, or actually I say a lot, but about 25 damage from a nice little C4 there. So there goes down one of your C4s. So you only have one more C4 for plant denial, and I'm interested to see how Breakpoint plans on continuing out, as you know, there's only a minute gone, and you still have the Malusi up in attic and just waiting and watching for somebody to peek their head, as there is a Maverick on board.
Yep, and that, if he's not careful, that could be a hole big enough to check a nitro cell through. Of course, if they want to play the grenade game, this could go both ways. It remains to be seen, right? As there's going to be a Flores at play, he's going to be used. The drone just blew, didn't do too much. I mean, still, it forces somebody to flee, basically. Surprisingly enough, they did not actually breach into attic, because I thought they were trying to flush out the roamers. Apparently, just like messing with them, telling them, you know, don't peek this because we're gonna be shooting at you is enough. And I see a silhouette creeping up the stairs there. Oh, big guy with a nasty pick. But there's still somebody in the stairs right there. They definitely are aware of that. Big guy is gonna be flashed here. That's quite dangerous. Yeah, he couldn't do much there. Who was that? It was Ani. He's gonna take, once again, a lot of life away from Kenny. Could have been interesting if he was to actually kill him before the X-Kairos were to be tossed and subsequently detonated. An attempt has been made. Penny goes down, but once again, the breach already has been made, so it's a bit too little too late, aside of the fact that, you know, it's like a guy off the board, which you have to start somewhere, but still, he's going to be revived. 3v5 situation, 32 seconds on the clock. That can be a double kill. Squeaky with the trigger discipline and the drone that was not being held. This can be a round changer, as in the blink of an eye, we're down into a 3v2 situation to the advantage of Breakpoint Esports.
It really is, and the fact that Skunky didn't maybe have a Nomad device, or it was figured out, is amazing to me, as it was very surprising that he was able to do that. 2v1, and Skunky's going to have to start putting down the diffuser as time's going down to about 5 seconds, and he's going to be figured out that the diffuser's going down, and he actually pulled out the diffuser to save the KD, and Breakpoint winning that round in pretty well fashion. It seems like defense is their go-to side, apparently, as Squeaky. The fact that he was able to rotate like that and get the double kill, Revenge Nation should have been watching a drone or two, or somebody should have been doing something.
You gotta save the KD, right? You gotta. But yeah, this is gonna be a second round one for Breakpoint Esports, because we didn't exactly mention that, but it was a 1-5 scoreline, like a nasty split. And so Breakpoint, if they were to lose this round, imagine having a 6-1. It would be near impossible to come back, or near impossible rather. 2-5. Still, if they lose, like having a 2-6 comeback situation imposed on you is not favorable, and almost doomed from the get-go as well. But it's already less bad than, you know, a 1-6. I could say this of every single, points mark that could be from this point forward. But you gotta start somewhere, and that's exactly what Breakpoint did. Wow, I am stuttering hard tonight. I haven't casted in way too long, where I was not running like cams, production, and a few things at the same time. So I almost feel like rusty as a caster when looking back and fondly to the good old ESL days.
Oh yeah, that little break we had, I was actually thinking of just watching a VOD and just casting by myself, because I was like, I haven't done any casting in like over a week or two, maybe almost 2 weeks, and I was like, I need to do something. I feel like I'm going to be rusted by the time the season comes around, and I've done, you know, solid like 5 out of 10. I'll give myself a 50.
You gotta start somewhere.
Exactly.
So right here, and this is really a nice segue to underline the difference between Revenge Nation and Breakpoint's playstyle. Squeaky, that run out was suicidal in a situation where you really could not afford to take that kind of risks.
No, you're already up 5-2, and you're going to run, or you're down 5-2. I'm sorry, and you're going to run out. You gotta start playing a little bit more conservative if you're Breakpoint right now, and just let Revenge Nation start coming to you. Yes, you want a roamer to go around and, you know, just worry Revenge Nation a little bit, but you can't be jumping out like that. And there goes a man down, you know, not even a minute in, and you have to be able to play a little bit more conservative here.
Hey, if it was to happen, Breakpoint might pull out a Revenge Nation where they start every single round with the man down, and they end up winning every single one of them. So yeah, they're right here. Oh, Empress goes down. Trevmark just being nasty here. I believe it was Ani who was in the back stairs. So he's roaming. There's somebody else in the main area, which leaves us with only, I think it's Ash on site. So that's a really weakly defended site, considering all 5 of the attackers are still up and up to 100% of their health. Ani seems to be doing something, gets a kill, but gets refragged immediately after. This was more or less to be expected, considering, the broad situation he was in. But it does not, really alleviate the pressure or the pain that Breakpoint are feeling right now. 2v4 with Yijai. Yijai has a pretty decent gun, but Ash, yeah, he's gonna pop headshots at this point.
Yeah, pretty much. And what I've noticed about Revenge Nation is that they pretty much have somebody watching each other's back pretty much the whole time. And so I think that's working to their advantage as they were immediately refragged. And so that's really good with them. And as the last Flores device comes out, if he doesn't realize that that's there, he's going to be taken down. But he does, and he's actually going to get a kill onto Kenny right now. So 2v3, 30 seconds left. Ash and Yijai?
Yijai, yeah, it's an I.
Yep. He's
Are they
actually
gonna pull it off?
Triple kill, and I think they are. Trev Mac, I don't want to underestimate him. He is playing Sophia, and she has a very strong gun against 2 people that either don't have a good gun and are already low on health. So he has 15 seconds left. He gets a very nice flick there as he takes down Yijai. 1v1. The last defender has to hide. As 5 seconds come down on the clock, and he is going to keep on hiding. And so it looks like the round is going to go to Revenge, or not Revenge Nation, Breakpoint, as time dwindles down towards the end.
They did not even try to plant. That was slightly odd. I mean, Trev Mark, when I'm in that kind of situation, you're going to try for, say you have 7 seconds left, right? You take 5 seconds to try to find the guy and to get the kill. But if that does not work, within your last, breath, literally, run as far away as possible to make the distance between you and where you suppose he went to hide as great as possible, to make it so that he needs 7 seconds to run up to you, to make it so that you have your gun back in your hands by the time he comes up to you. This was what I thought he was doing, right? Because he was like in the very end of the corner of the wall, of kids' bunks, but did not try to plant. This seemed a bit odd to me. Like, dedicated to the kill till the very last moment. You gotta respect that. But
you gotta respect it, but also, I agree with you on this. You have to look around for a little bit, try and find that person, that last person. But if you can't find them, go ahead and start the plant. Trev Mac was a little bit far away, so I'm not exactly sure if they would have heard the plant going down.
Yeah, exactly.
So he may have got away with it, and the way he was doing his gunfight, I believe he could have won that gunfight. So it could have gone to a Revenge Nation, but also we always like to play what ifs as the casters, and so we're not exactly sure what would have happened, but it was looking good for Revenge Nation there towards the end, and they just kind of dropped the ball.
It's really easy to play the what ifs games when it's not your gameplay that's actually on blast. Exactly. Furthermore, Breakpoint just pulled off a 2v4? Was it a 2v5 total clutch? No, Ani got a kill in the back stairs. 2v4. They pulled off a 2v4. Once again, in a heavily disadvantaged situation. Revenge Nation also had their moments. Kenny Shotgun, one bandit. So really, once again, for the very first match of the entire season, this is going as well as could be expected.
It really is, and I believe Ani is, playing the Clash, and we saw him at the beginning of the round just kind of hiding. So I don't think Revenge Nation, unless they drawn them out, know that there's going to be a Clash being played. And as I have always said about shield operators, they're basically a walking drone. So, especially since they don't have any other intel except from Lucy's, Wani, if he plays it right, he's going to be a big moment for the Breakpoint on this defense, which they desperately need at this point.
I think Yijai would be really interesting to follow here because he was going up the stairs, the back stairs, that is, right? And he's on a roam game. So once again, remember how we saw a few double kills from behind due to a sneaky roam? He can make or break the round, because if he dies, of course, that is one man down, and he would die for not too much. And he barely missed the silhouette. That is so disappointing. Still, he's watching the angle like a hawk.
I wonder. It looks like who was it? Is that big guy?
Oh, no! So infuriating to watch. He had the opportunity. You know, Squeaky was in the very same situation a few rounds ago, and he had the trigger discipline to make sure to line the shot up to not miss the kill, because the advantage of surprise was the only thing he had going for him in that situation, and he threw that away without even getting the kill, leaving us in a 4v5 situation. Well, I'm gonna get to counts. Ani with the clash can be really interesting because he has the potential to waste a lot of time, and you know, it doesn't seem like it, but there's only 45 or 35 seconds left on the clock.
And with about 30 seconds left on the clock, it's going to come down to this 20-second deathmatch here. As, you know, there goes the first one. Chosen's going to get a kill onto Squeaky, but the clash is still up, and make that never mind, as a very nice grenade is going to come in. We've seen Empress do this before, but in a 1v5, unfortunately, as they try to rotate around, Chosen's going to get a headshot. They actually traded, it looked like there. And so Revenge Nation just one more round, and they will be taking the first map.
I gotta say, Breakpoint's run was not too bad, right? And I'm not counting them out just yet, but I mean, since the rule swap, coming in 5-1, kind of seeming beat up a little bit. They win 2 rounds in a row, and this is surprising to see them treat Laundry as their tertiary bomb site. I suppose the data would back it up, as this is where they end up losing and they end up breaking the streak. But now, this proves that if you go into Kitchen, I mean, they are able to win their top floor, obviously. And so the basement area isn't that, you know, difficult to win as a defender. So as long as they can overturn the outcome that we saw previously, or I should say a few seconds ago, and just repeat their past success at those 2 other bomb sites, an overtime situation wouldn't seem that unlikely. Once again, I'm weighing my words, because Revenge Nation will make sure to not make the same mistakes as they did before, talking about the bomb sites where Breakpoint were able to pull out a victory somehow. So you gotta take everything with a grain of salt. But if they do things right, Breakpoint Esports have it within them to win it.
They really do, and we have seen Breakpoint pretty much just either they're going to do really well or they do not so well. And so, I mean, obviously they're down, you know, 3 rounds, but we have seen them do really, really well. Their first defense, they won, you know, and so they have the potential to bring this back. 3 straight rounds, it's going to be a lot, and they're going to have to do this pretty perfectly. They're going to have to, you know, try and not do any runouts like Squeaky did, or get too hyper aggressive.
Yeah,
and I've already made that point where Breakpoint, they cannot get aggressive. They need to hit their shots. That could have gone a little bit differently if, you know, Yelly, or I keep on saying his name wrong.
I'm calling him Yeji.
Yeji. If he would have got those 2 people on the main stairs, it would have been a whole different ball game. So they have to have a little bit more trigger discipline as well.
Yeah, I mean, trigger discipline is something that you gotta think about, right? Because if you let your instinct just work for you, and you know, game sense is like a glorified way of saying instinct. If you let instinct run or dictate your actions, you're going to be trigger happy whenever you see a target. But that's not the way you usually should play it. We've all seen somebody just sneak up on you, who's aiming at your head, you know, in casual, and you know they're 15 feet behind you because you're in a corner or something, and then you get knifed from behind. Why can't you just take that same approach, but unironically try to just line up the shot perfectly? But, I mean, we're reminiscing the past at this point, so let's talk about what we're seeing right here. Because for Revenge Nation, they seem to be pretty familiar and, say, efficient with a 20 seconds meta. So waiting to the very last second, if Breakpoint aren't able to dwindle Revenge Nation's numbers down, I think that could be a really dangerous situation for them to be in. Do note that Ani is going to be the top of the big tower, so if somebody wants to try some sneaky play again, let's just hope for better results than what we saw before. And furthermore, I mean, talking of not being overly aggressive, I feel like Breakpoint also have to work around and, you know, put a big emphasis on their top fraggers. If Yedge dies, I mean, that might be it for the round, looking at the kill counts, right? So he should maybe get a bit more support. There's no Valkyrie or Maestro or Echo to support him, but anything would help.
And anything will help, but he is playing that freezer exceptionally well, as he has not been able to be flushed out yet. And actually, there he goes as I'm talking about him. So 15 seconds left. Revenge Nation has to get the ball going. It is a 2v3 right now as the flurry of kills going to come out, but 5 seconds left, and nobody has diffuser on Revenge Nation.
Oh, because he's got it there.
Diffuser's actually down, and Breakpoint will win the round, surprisingly.
Goddamn, we didn't even see that happening, but Oni saved the round single-handedly.
Oh my gosh. It was really good that he was playing up there, or playing in the Rome situation.
This is why you never want to leave your diffuser carrier alone. This is the exact reason why he should be staying with the troop. I totally understand, like, setting up a pinch, or, pushing in from multiple different angles at once, or even just, providing a distraction. But the care of the diffuser, by its mere definition, is not the distraction. He's the main push, and he should really, really not be unattended.
He really shouldn't, and you see exactly why right there. They were doing so well, but time was against them, unfortunately, as 5 seconds left, and it's just pretty much all dwindled down to they had to start planting or try and find the other 3 members of Breakpoint, where one is actually roaming and not even on site. So if once the person with the diffuser went down, it was pretty much all over for Revenge Nation. But I will say they are still on match point here.
Yeah.
Breakpoint still has to win 2 straight rounds. They played that really well. They're starting to come together and play their defenses the way that we know that they can play these defenses. So if they can continue this and try and get into Revenge Nation's head just even a little bit, we're going to see Breakpoint play and possibly even win, maybe force an overtime, which would be amazing to see at this moment.
It would be impressive indeed, considering, the journey that would have brought them into overtime. I gotta say, I am more or less eating my words. I was saying, well, Revenge Nation, they do tend to thrive with the 20 seconds meta. They're not rushing their pushes because they're not scared of being in those very late round stages. And yet, it kind of bit them in the butt, because if they were not in a 20 seconds meta type of push, they would have had time to recover the diffuser. So, you win some, you lose some, I suppose. There still is a lone roamer this time in the basement. It's too far away. I really couldn't tell you who's still what I'm seeing there. But this really seems to be... it's Ani. Speak of the man. It really is a signature move of theirs.
And really what, it's not surprising that you're going to see him roaming around. He's really well at the roam, and he basically saved that round last time. So I'm interested to see how they're able to continue this, but Chosen's actually going to be taken down. There goes your Flores. So unless he did all of his drones already, I don't
think he did.
It's pretty big, but it's also not that detrimental, as you still have your hard breach and your Sophia and your Nomad to do your flank watch. So you're down a player, but you're not down too terribly much at that moment. But Kenny's going to get a drone in, and he's going to know where somebody is right now.
Can we talk about the movements, specifically the hard breach situation? Because Kenny by Big Window is not exploiting his Hibana capabilities at all. Big guy walking up white stairs and possibly dying there. I mean, that's a pretty predictable situation or position to be in. The only guy that's down from Breakpoint is only injured, so it's still technically a 5v3 situation, Breakpoint being up to their full strength. But what I really want to talk about is, like, they're going for this bottom-up approach. They have those hard breach operators, but they're not hard breaching at all, which forces them to funnel through those staircases. That's a predictable movement waiting to happen. And right here, 40 seconds to go. Ani is still basically paralyzing Big Guy. Big Guy knows if he walks up the stairs, Ani is going to be right behind him, forcing a rotation, forcing them into plan B of a plan that, in my personal opinion, wasn't even the best to begin with, right? You want to breach those attic and bunk wall or game walls.
And can I just point out that this is kind of what we saw Breakpoint do when Revenge Nation went here. They had one person going up white, and so that now they had to funnel through that big window, and that's exactly what happened to Revenge Nation. They had to go through that window, had to go up white, and it was pretty much just kills after kills there. And so Breakpoint, I guess either they saw, hey, this is what just happened to us, or maybe they didn't realize it, and they pretty much just watched big window there, as that's the only thing Revenge Nation was able to do.
What I believe happened, as I'm watching the stream on another window and there's a 3 minutes delay, so that's quite convenient for us, and that's very moment. Ani has been spotted by the drones on the first floor, at the feet of White Staircase. So I suppose Revenge Nation went into a roam sweep kind of mode there, because I mean, remember how they took control of dining and kitchen and that kind of stuff? This is where you might expect an active roamer to be, more or less. But Ani was not playing the active roamer; he was the passive one that lets them come to you and play for time as much as possible. So in a sense, like, they had their eyes on the ball being getting the kill off on Ani, but they lost their peripheral vision in the process, and they never recovered it. Like the big window area, or say approach, being your main vector into the bomb site, except if you have something crazy like a bunch of smokes, a ying, and I don't know, right? Trying to go for that kind of rushed plant under their noses without getting the kills, because what are they going to do about it? They're going to be blind, and they can't see through the smokes anyways. But that's a very niche approach that you see in casual more than in ranked, let alone in comp. So I feel like I'm wasting my breath delving deeper into that line of thought.
But really, what Revenge Nation, we haven't really seen them do much ever since Roll Swap. They won, what, one round?
Yeah, but momentum is gone.
Breakpoint was able to win 4 rounds, so Revenge Nation, like I said, hasn't really done much on attack. So maybe they're either trying stuff out, or maybe Breakpoint is that much more efficient on defense than they are on attacking. And I think, like I said before, Breakpoint is realizing, like, hey, we cannot get hyper aggressive here. I will say this every round until it's not it anymore, but Revenge Nation is still on match point. So, even if Breakpoint falters for even a second, Revenge Nation is going to take that, and that's not something you want to do against this team right now.
And to me, it feels like Breakpoints are leading into this defensive play for time play style, as we weren't really seeing those uppers before, but we're not seeing them now, definitely. And by those uppers, I'm talking about, say, a Vigil or Kivera. Motzi, I mean, you can still justify his presence, because he may not be a roamer and still be in his strong suits. Furthermore, I mean, the Aruni gates, the Suya gates will be especially efficient here. Like, we saw her before, but she wasn't that big of a factor. Right here, that gate is very likely to be opened up again sometime into that round.
And with Revenge Nation, looks like they're pretty much just going to be trying to do this little meeting take here, and they're pretty much getting prepared for it. So they're going to get the Mute Jammer, and a very nice kill from Squeaky, as there goes your main Heartbreacher there of Habana, and your top fragger of Kenny, and they're just going for toes right now and shooting at whatever they see here. And so Chosen's going to be taking some damage, as well as he's going to get shot through a drone hole. There's about a minute left, and they're going to have to start this attack if they're going to really want to get in. But Squeaky's going to get down by Chosen, and so now making a 4v4 with 50 seconds left.
50 seconds is a lot to work with if you are Revenge Nation. The toes, I mean, this was kind of chipping away at their health, forcing them. Oh, and there he is going to be forced out of this position. With any luck, I'm not exactly sure who that was. This was there so for such a short amount of time. Is that Ani? No, Ani's roaming. Impressed? It's Yeji. Okay.
Yeah.
So Yej was playing for the toes, and he was chipping away at their health, kind of basically denying access to that hallway, because you can't just rush through the doorway, right? You have to take your angles to peek, to like go at it, one step at a time. This is why it was so dangerous, but he's been forced out of that playstyle. Chosen takes a lot of damage, gets the kill. Diffuser being planted. Empress and Ash have to do something. Hard left. That peek was slightly sloppy. He gets the kill still, but he's out of ammo, as he did not reload, and that gun has a notoriously small magazine. 2v2 situation. Chosen being low on health. This seems somewhat doable. 1v not even.
Nope,
he attempted,
but
he didn't get it.
And I want to I'm curious as to something. Who was playing Flores? Chosen. So Chosen was playing Flores, and he just kept on sending drone after drone after drone. And I'm interested as to why. I know that they had to get wall open, but Maverick still had a frag grenade in his pocket, so he could have just cooked a grenade and threw it in there. As soon as you have that Flores drone go off, yeah, they were trying to get him out, but it has a very loud noise, and it takes a good couple of seconds. But if big guy was to cook a grenade, there would be nothing that defender could have done if it was cooked to perfection, and the grenade would have had the exact same. And it feels like they just wasted those Flores drones. But eventually, Revenge Nation did win that round, so I can't really say much as they did win. So it really all depends.
Yeah, I mean, it really does come down to a lot of factors, a lot of simultaneous factors, to put it this way. But I mean, at the end of the day, they had an amazing run, right? Breakpoint Esports did their best, but their best, unfortunately, was not enough. What I do like to see, however, was the comeback that they had. Like, Revenge Nation had an amazing lead, and this is why the momentum that Breakpoint had was not enough to bring them just into overtime. However, being quite simplistic and dumbing it down a little bit, the defense being that much favored did help Breakpoint to get the momentum. Now, if they do start on defense, because it's exactly what's happening right here, will we see a situation where Breakpoint Esports, gets, I'm going to say 4-2, 5-1, and even though it's harder to win your rounds on offense, they only need to win like the 1, the 2, 3 of them, depending. And, aka a redo of that situation, but just inverse the team names because the role swaps or the spawn sites will be inversed. Well, in either case, that was a pretty swift in between 2 rounds type of pause, as the players did not exactly ask for a break. They were ready to just keep on rolling, and so here we are going to go. Cafe Dostoyevsky, Breakpoint Esports defending first. Orange team is up next. Revenge Nation is going to be attacking, and they have been renamed Orange Team. DM.
All right, Orange Team, it's official. Go ahead and change their team name now. So,
because I do believe seeing hasn't tapped in a while, but we were seeing like Breakpoint Esports on Twitch, and they're active on Twitter and everything on top of that, right? I want to see you guys rename yourselves right this instance. It looks like somebody didn't like Flores being played, and I totally get why.
But they played the Flores the most, so I'm interested to wonder why they are banning him, as they pretty much majoritarily played him compared to compared to Breakpoint.
I gotta say, the idea is he is a good counter to somebody holding a power position. And power positions really is Orange Team's bread and butter right now. And I'm really just saying it because it's written on my screen. Basically, the idea is, how they're spread out really thin because they're holding onto a large section of the map? Well, they're doing that by having cross angles and, hiding behind a really strong, basically, piece of cover. They're not being mobile. They're not moving out if they've been spotted because they're not those nimble roamers. They're like proxy anchors, to put it that way. And if Flores is just a really great threat to somebody who's static behind a power position in a similar way to a Maestro or not a Maestro, sorry, a Capital or any Gotal frag grenade would be. So yes, you're totally right. They were playing him more than their opponents were. But then again, considering the defense, there's play style, like both teams' defensive play styles, I suppose Flores could be the greater threat to Revenge Nation as compared to Breakpoint Esports.
Exactly, and with Breakpoint Esports starting on defense, I think this is going to help them out very well, as we saw them play their defense pretty much almost flawlessly. I say almost flawlessly, as there was a couple of hiccups every now and then, but pretty much they went almost a whole flawless 5-1 scoreline, just like Revenge Nation did, but they did lose that last round. So Breakpoint starting it on defense, I think it's going to be kind of hard for Revenge Nation right now to, oh, excuse me, to bring it back.
You did message me something which we really cannot just keep quiet. So do you want to just acknowledge what you told me, or should I share that with the chat?
It was pretty much just me saying that I'm going to do a couple rounds and then I'm going to have to hop off. Work has called me for early tomorrow, and so that's me getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning. And so
Yeah.
that's the only thing. Very unfortunately.
I mean, so basically at this point, there's no way you're getting 8 hours of sleep. My condolences.
Oh no, pretty much. And I was actually going to hop off after the first map, but I didn't expect them to be ready so soon. But also, it is almost 10:30, so it doesn't surprise me that they wanted to, get on so soon, or to get the match started so soon. So, I'm just going to probably do about 4 rounds, depending on how quickly they go.
Gotcha. So let's talk about the rounds since we have a very limited amount of time left with you. Castle barricades are interesting as, I mean, the first Ashe or Zofia that comes along is going to destroy that. It is a utility soaker, sure, but I mean, Sledge, for example, has so many hits with the hammer that he really does not care about losing only the one hit of the hammer. I'm not exactly sure if there's maybe like a Jaeger device hidden somewhere to like eat up at the Ashe breaching charges to force her to use up 2 of them instead of like the only the one. I don't know. Probably not. There was an attempt here by Yedge Maid, but Kenny was there to shut that down. And on top of that, Impress died earlier in the round, and Ani taking some amount of damage. He is just popping those smoke canisters, Squeaky, trying to go for the exact same rotate or roam game that we saw before. That really is a signature move from Breakpoint Esports. But unfortunately, it was doomed to fail as he dies, leaving us with a 3v5 situation. That numerical advantage for Revenge Nation is starting to stack up at this point.
It really is, and it seems like they know that there's somebody behind there, as Chosen's actually going to get a double kill, and Skunky's going to take out one of the defenders as well. So it's going to leave the Rooney to try and hop over, and that's actually our first flawless round that we have seen from either team in this tournament, or it's not a tournament, but you know what I'm talking about. Even on Oregon, we didn't see a flawless round. So first flawless round going to Revenge Nation.
Yep, absolutely. So was that quick enough of a run for you? Considering their play styles and their usual habits, that was a quick round for Revenge Nation. Not a full-blown rush, don't get me wrong, but once again, taking their standards into consideration, it was a pretty expedited round. Let's take a look at this second defense because it looks like Breakpoint have been scared out of Bar.
And which is very surprising, as I feel like Bar is not necessarily the place that many people go anymore. When Cafe, and even more recently, third floor was where everybody went, but now it's either the first floor or even right now on the second floor where Breakpoint is going is more along the lines of, hey, we're going to go here instead of third floor. So maybe they weren't feeling comfortable on third floor, as it was over pretty quickly with a couple of spawn peaks and just a rush there towards the end of a flurry of kills and a flawless round. So I think Breakpoint maybe don't want to go to third floor just quite yet, and maybe they don't have enough time to talk about what went wrong, and so they're just going to go to the second floor. I'm sorry, and just play their game for right now.
Allow me to take like one step back and underline the fact that Breakpoints, I mean, it was a one-sided map before on Oregon until they got that comeback at M, right? And the score lines, by then the game wasn't exactly in blowout territory. So I really just hope for their sakes that they're not getting demoralized, or that they're not basically giving up or trying less than they were before, because they are quite capable of putting up a show. But it really hinges on them trying their best, because as soon as you let yourself go, even a little bit, it's morale subconsciously. Even if I'm trying too hard, I don't win. So what's the point in even trying? This is the kind of mental tricks that a lazy brain could lay onto you. And you really gotta be cautious around those kinds of habits or attitudes because their potential really, really does not need to be wasted. I want to see
And
them put up as big a show this round or this map as we saw before.
and they were putting up such a good round there towards the end of Oregon, and that's where I feel like Breakpoint they can do so well right now, and I know that they can do well, and I think even they know that they can do well. So I'm interested to see how, as the season goes on, they progress as a team, and I think maybe towards the end of the season, they're going to be competing very highly with Revenge Nation and the other teams as well.
I deem it a fairly likely chance that these teams are going to meet each other in playoffs, except if somebody else was to like beat them because like odds wouldn't have them play against each other until they were to be kicked out. Either one of those. But then again, let's talk about the round here because no kill has happened, but we are quite deep into that round right here. This is looking bad for Empress as he's got a pinch between two angles. The defense still has top floor control, but somehow nobody's like breaching the floor with an impact or a shotgun and thus getting a kill on Chosen. Yijai goes on as well. On you low on health. Remember how Chosen put a question mark in chat before? So, I mean, just sneeze in his general direction. He's going to die. Which leaves us with Ash and Sneaky. I mean, Sneaky gets a pick here, but Ani goes down. 2v4 situation. Big guy with a diffuser in the back pockets. That is going to be an amazing miss. A few shots missed there. Ash, weakest gun in the game. 1v3 situation. Diffuser actively being planted right now. He escapes the flash, but is in no position to deny the plant. Actually, I believe we barely saw like the tip of the shoulder, but you know, in the midst of the action, he was never going to pick up on that.
No, and we have seen him clutch it right now, but with about 30 seconds, he needs to try and hunt down 3 of the attackers right now, and Big Guy's actually going to be playing from underneath. So I don't know if he necessarily knows that, and so somebody in Laundry is going to be taking him down, and that's Skunky getting the headshot there. With Big Guy watching underneath and somebody else on white stairs, there's not much that he could have done there towards the end.
Yeah, nicely tried. But then again, him not picking off the 1v4 clutch is not the true error that the team made. Is like having him left in a 1v3 clutch situation in the first place is what shouldn't have happened, you know? All that being said, they are really going to be sticking on Fireplace Hall and Mining Room. I couldn't tell you why, because to be honest, this would even be like considered the 4th site in the entire map. Most teams would play like games and games and games on Cafe without even going Fireplace Mining at all. So I suppose they have a custom made, you know, purpose strat for this area, which we just saw. But the results, considering the opponent they're up against, were kind of lackluster. So if they're going for the same initial setup, I would hope for their sakes that the actual execution will be way better than what we just saw.
Most likely. And, you know, you say that teams don't go here. Apparently, the people I play with are an unorthodox team because we actually prefer this over the Fireplace reading, but that's our own personal like play styles, I guess you could say. And there's a reason why we don't sometimes compete, like like you were trying earlier and everything. But it is a very unorthodox. But Breakpoint, as you were saying earlier, I don't want them to get discouraged. They're only down 2 rounds, but
It's a small gap, yeah.
But Breakpoint, you're a good team, and again, I don't want them to start getting discouraged with making minor mistakes. It happens, but they can definitely pull this off. They just have to focus like they were in Oregon the last couple of rounds. But as we're getting into everything, the attackers are going to slowly but surely make their way into the sites here, and they're going to be working from the top down. It seems like as Big Guy is going to be getting the hatches open, and I believe there's only a couple of roamers around, as there's a vigil, and I don't believe Squeaky's too far off site either. So they're going to have to flush them out before they have any chance of doing anything right now. And oh, that's unfortunate for Squeaky, as I thought he had the drop on Trev Mac, and he does not, and he's going to go down very early only wasting about a minute of the time of the attackers.
So looking at things right now, the top-down approach is typical, right, for this map. The roamers have to be cleared, and once you have the roamers cleared, you can hold powerful and potent angles from above, which will then, limit mobility and rotation possibilities for the defenders. Kill the 1 or 2 guys that are on bomb site, get the diffuser planted, and the guys from above can cut off any rotation to attempt to recover control of the bomb site. This is the playbook that Revenge Nation are going right now.
And
the question is, anything could go wrong with 1 or 2 kills that would open up the map in the right or the wrong way, depending on who you're rooting for.
It really all depends on who you're rooting for, and I didn't even see what the prediction was, but it pretty much was all people voting for Revenge Nation for this prediction. So it's going to be interesting to see how they're able to do much as they're doing some reconstruction on the 3rd floor, just making as much holes as possible, which is pretty typical when people go to this bomb site. And Big Guy actually saw the foot of somebody there, and so he's going to be taking a couple pop shots and actually doing a lot of damage and almost killing him. And as he was rotating back to site, going to be taken down by Chosen. So now it's a 3v5 with 30 seconds left. The attackers are going pretty much, I don't want to say they have areas to work into now, but you have your castle down to almost 25 health, and Skunky's going to be taking a lot of damage, but you have the man advantage. And right now there goes Ash, as Kenny's going to take him down. So 2v5, 6 seconds left. It's not looking good, but the diffuser is actually not down. So 1v3. If Trev Mac actually didn't win that, the Breakpoint would have won.
Yeah, diffuser, this was coming down to the wire, but he was running up like a madman. You totally get why, right? He wants to deny the plant, but this was a sloppy peek. Running up, not having your gun at the ready when somebody's actively shooting at you is a sure way to die. So it is going to be the unfortunate end of that one round. And the greater arc, kind of the question that's being begged here is, do you feel like Breakpoint are improving upon themselves round after round after round? Like, do they need X amount of rounds to figure out how Revenge Nation do tend to play to then, basically come up with a counter strat to that specific play style? I don't really see that kind of narrative being played out here. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't think so either, as you pretty much just had a whole map against Revenge Nation and Breakpoint. They've seen how they've played. Yes, it is a different map, and yes, they may bring different attackers, but really their attacking is going to be pretty much the same overall. And so Breakpoint, the fact that they're down 3-0, we saw this in Oregon, they can still bring it back, but they should be, I don't want to say predicting, but expecting what Revenge Nation can be doing, and they should be able to counteract it right now.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like you summoned this pretty well. So if I was to look to the future, especially what's coming up in round number 4, was that going to be your final round, by the way?
I'll go to at least the split.
Okay.
I'll do 3 more rounds.
Awesome. Hey, glad to have you on. This, once again, really does feel like a custom-made strat, which is better than the default thing, because this is what, of course, Revenge Nation would know how to counteract. For example, there is an opening into the red stairs. There are a few roamers at key positions. Some sort of an attempt made to hold on to Bakery with that deployable shield, but it feels like they abandoned said power position pretty quickly, as nobody was actually on the shield, and it got destroyed by the first Sophia that comes along. It's going to be a bit of a utility soaker, but that's not the typical way you would go at using your deployable shields, which, if I may, we have 3 of in them, or 2 left, should I say, in that given round. So that's interesting because it's going to be creating a few par positions for Breakpoint Esports to hold or to anchor down behind. On top of that, it also means less barbed wires. You have Ella, but I mean, she's no substitute to having like 2 or 3 barbed wires on the board, right? So if there's like the one weakness that could be exploited by Revenge Nation, there might be an opportunity for an aggressive rush into the bomb site at a opportune time. But I don't expect that to happen, as it's not their typical playstyle. The possibility technically still would exist.
Yeah, and what's interesting to me is I believe that they castled off Red Hallway and
Yes, you're
going
correct.
down to first floor. So if they don't have a rotate back into sight, and the castle was on the other side of that barricade, so that bar is pretty much all castle barricade off unless they being either Revenge Nation or Title Breakpoint decide, or not Title Breakpoint, I'm sorry, Breakpoint, uh, they decide to tear down that. I'm not sure why they decided to do that, but we'll see as it's about a minute left and they pretty much have third and second floor control, so they only have one more floor to go as they're just making their way, making their holes open and just waiting and watching pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, the defense really is not challenging that top floor control right now, which in and of itself is inherently weak, as they're basically letting the attackers come to them on the attackers' terms. That's a dangerous game to play. I suppose not splitting yourselves up makes the bomb site itself so much tougher of a nut to crack. So time is going to tell if that trade-off is actually worth it. It looks like Ani thought better, and this is why he's actually going for a little roam just in time as big guy gets a pick on Ash. So it would be time to basically get the scores back together or back tied, and he is going to go at it from a very strategic standpoint. But it might be too little too late as the attackers are actually dropping down and looking at the silhouettes. The orange guys being the attackers, they're swarming all over the bomb sites. No plant denial is going to happen here. Kenny gets the diffuser put down, and that's leaving up with Ani, the only guy that was like not on bomb site. Last player alive, does not even get a single kill, and that's going to be another flawless round for the orange team, aka Revenge Nation.
And really with title, or I keep on wanting to say Title Breakpoint, they changed their name.
Yes,
like
they did.
right before everything started. So Breakpoint, with that rotate by Ani, that could have been really well as he shot the Nomad device, ran up red, and then ran down white. Exactly.
They saw him. They had eyes on him on top of that.
Pretty much. And so he could have been big, but it seems like they knew exactly where he was coming from. And they knew that he ran up red, ran down white. And it was a marathon that he had to run as he was just trying to get back onto site. He was the only plant denial. He was the only one with a C4 as there was a smoke, but he was already dead by then. And the diffuser went down, and so Breakpoint, you got to keep the people with the plant denials on or around site. You can't just have them wander off and complete a circuit of the whole map.
I mean, so what I believe he was going for was to have like the high ground on the attacker's high ground. He wanted to go into piano, breach the hatch. I don't think he was playing with a shotgun. Like right now he's playing mute again, the SMG-11 in the hand, so I'm not... Yeah, okay, the shotgun is truly his primary weapon. So he was in a position to blow the hatch and then, once again, to get top floor control, as I was saying. It is an interesting attempt or an interesting idea. By that point, the attackers weren't really into train anymore, so I'm not exactly sure if that would have worked as he intended to in the first place, even if his execution was perfect. But definitely, you know, the problem solving and the critical thinking still needs to be commended there, because just running up to the attackers because they're there and you want to kill them might not be the best thing ever. And he realized that and he acted accordingly. Once again, it was just too little too late, but the effort has to be underlined. Round 5. So far, Revenge Nation are undefeated, and that's something.
And maybe it's exactly what we're going to see for Oregon. Around now, Breakpoint did have a round win, but still, you know, maybe we'll see a 5-1 split. I really don't want to see a 6-0 split, as that would be a really big detriment to Breakpoint. As we've said before, they cannot get their morale down, but the fact that they're down 4 rounds right now on the final or potential final map is very big for them, and we're going to see maybe Chosen win this gunfight, but if he swings this wrong, he's going to lose it, and that C4 from Ani is going to come out, but unfortunately it's not going to land on anybody, and Big Guy is actually in the freezer area.
Yeah.
And
how did he make it there? And how
I'm
did
not.
Ani not cut him off? Like, he must have gone through bathroom. Or where's the breach?
I
Like, he didn't
think
walk through bar. There's somebody there, right?
I don't think he walked through bar. I think he used his sledgehammer to go through that breach and to go through there. And as
Either way, we might be totally confused, but Trevmark is gonna get 2 kills in rapid succession, leaving us with a 3v5 situation like before. This time, however, there's going to be an echo at play. It's like the one switch or mix-up that could be underlining. Not exactly sure how useful that's going to be, as in that current situation, he cannot exactly afford to sit on camps. Somebody else can, of course, but then you're losing out on the echo part of the echo camera. Might as well have used it. Goddamn hiccups. The Valkyrie there. Trevmark and his teammates, big guy. They're playing vertical like they did before. This time, however, there was a proper roam game in place, which has been proper roam swept away, which makes it so that this time they really have no worries about having anybody come and spoil their fun while they're looking at the floor, because that kind of limits their peripheral vision. It would be an ideal situation for roamers to sneak up on, but like we just said, it's not going to happen. Smoke popping off canisters, 15 seconds to go. I gotta say, if they're able to fend off the rush for just a few precious seconds, even Echo at this point could be a round changer. It might still be possible. 6 seconds, the one still behind the bomb. Diffuser is going down. Echo not on count right now. Ash not peeking. Squeaky going down. And Breakpoint is going to win their first round due to the timer. This was Breakpoint Esports. Kind of, not Breakpoint, sorry, Revenge Nation flying a little too close to the sun. If they were to execute the push before, they were going to get the kills. They had the numerical advantage. They had the guns. They had the positioning. But Smoke was there to peak when it was needed. It was too crucial. And had there been like 2 more seconds left on the clock, the round could have gone to Revenge Nation. But there you have it. Breakpoints should not be counted out just yet.
Nope, and I feel like Breakpoint is doing what Breakpoint does. They have us worried in the first half, and then they start to bring it back.
Exactly.
And if Breakpoint can continue to do this, they're going to face problems going in the future. But if they can play constantly like they did last round, they're going to be very hard to go up against, as they are a very strong team. But I said this last map, you cannot give Revenge Nation an inch, and because they are going to take it a mile there. They are still down 4-1 with this is going to be the last round of the half. So it could be a potential 4-2 split, which on Cafe is not bad, but they are on defense. And going 4-2 split when you're on defense, not the most ideal that you want to start out, especially against a pretty defense-heavy Revenge Nation team.
I mean, on top of that, it's actually the opposite compared to what we saw back on Argon. It's the offense that's winning their rounds. This map is, pretty well balanced, but defense would be easier simply because you do dictate, basically the pace of the engagements and of the round. So, keeping that in mind, Breakpoint would have the inherent advantage, and still they're struggling pretty badly right now. I can only imagine what kind of results we're going to see once Revenge Nation starts attacking. So, this is the one big thing I want to keep in mind as we are moving closer and closer to said role swap for the very first time. Also, we're going to be seeing a Mira. I've talked about this before, back on Oregon, but Breakpoint Esports, they just have to play for time, and they're leading into that if they're playing Mira. This can take a few minutes, literally, to clean out.
And I feel like this is kind of with the Thatcher on Oregon. It took them 3 rounds before they started bringing a Thatcher. It took them 3 rounds, or right now it's taking them 6 rounds to even bring the Mira. And which Mira is pretty strong on this map, especially when you go to the 3rd floor. And so I'm surprised that they haven't brought her yet. Maybe it's just not in the strat book or anything like that. So maybe that's why they haven't brought her yet. But she is out on play, and I expect her to pretty much bring a big impact here for Breakpoint.
Ooh, Squeaky playing a dangerous game. At this point, I would kind of take for granted that Revenge Nation do have the upper hand when it comes to face-to-face gunfights. And yet, Squeaky is intent on face-checking them. right here, Castle plus the Rooney, this can be utility soaker and a time waster. Especially if it wasn't a big guy with a sledgehammer to destroy the castle barricade. As you know, typically it would require two, say, Ash Chargers to open up, but in that instance, not exactly. Either way, Chosen now is going to be in Cigar Shop, and he's pretty much knocking at the OBJ door as soon as he's going to leave the drone, that is. But right there is Squeaky missing a few shots. That was a free kill he missed out on, and of course, he is going to have to pay the price. Next up is going to be the mirror window. I don't think there's anybody in, say, Freezer to shoot down those Hibana pellets. So yeah, that window is going to get cleared out. 41 seconds to go. This is looking very doable for Revenge Nation, and by extension, kind of dire for Breakpoint Esports.
It really is looking dire for Breakpoint, but I believe that the mirror or somebody dropped down, and maybe they're going to be playing from beneath as Chosen's going to get the kill onto Empress, making it a 3v4, but Skunky's going to be going down as well. So, but Diffuser is going to go down, and it doesn't look like there's going to be any denial coming out. And it was a little bit too late as Chosen's going to pick up a double kill because they planted in a non-default spot. So, of course, that C4 wasn't going to hit anything. And there's going to be a gunfight coming on the red stairs, and Big Guy's going to get the kill. 1v4, he can do it. It's 1v3, and he is on the white stairs, but he's going to have to pick up his game, and unfortunately, he's going to go down as Chosen's going to get the final kill and a round win.
Yeah, the smoke detector, the proximity alert was kind of hard to shoot at because of the kind of arms, the chandelier. Nicely done. I believe this was it for you as we've just hit the role swap. I don't want to see you go, but then again, I can't really keep you on if you have to leave us.
Yes, so, I unfortunately do, and I feel really bad about it because this is potentially to be a really good match. As we've seen Breakpoint come back from these situations right now, but unfortunately I do have to go. So okay. I hope everybody has a good night, and Hans, good luck.
Yeah, well, thank you, and I'm going to extend that good luck to the players. But dude, I can't wait to cast again with you. And we are going to get you a highlight reel together. You are producing some great clips of your casting here and there when we have you on. All right, dude. See you and talk to you soon.
All right, everybody, have a good night.
And I gotta say, like, Chosen typing SSD loser. Chosen, come on. Don't say loser though. Please remain respectful. Yeah. So the game loading there was kind of useful for us to just say our goodbyes. Orange team, Revenge Nation would be like 2 points off of a victory, and now that they have the defense, I feel like those 2 points can happen kind of quickly, Breakpoints, we have not seen what their attack on Cafe looks like. If it was to be the case, maybe they have tried and practiced their offensive strategies and their offensive, playbook on Cafe more than anything else. I know it is statistically very unlikely, but if it was to be the case, we might be on our tracks to a comeback. Never count a team out as long as they're still standing. Big Eye here with the outdoors camera. It's in a semi-default spot as far as outside cameras go on this map. There's no IQ, so it's not exactly going to be hidden as soon as Breakpoint Esports thing to look for it. There you go. It is going to be destroyed. Triffmark attempting a spawn peek. We all saw that, but unfortunately nobody spawned in his field of view. A+ for efforts. Triffmark actually is going to run out. He was not spawn peeking. He was trying to shoot down the guys rappelling up. And how effective was that? He gets 2 or 3 kills. Big Guy also getting a few at the same time. I didn't exactly see where he was, but that combined run out was oh so efficient, leaving us with Ani, last player alive already in a 1v4 situation. 2 minutes 20 left on the clock. This Sniper Cell could even get the kill. It does not, however. He is in a full-blown panic retreat kind of situation on the roof of the building. This is like the one place where they're supposed to be safe because the defenders, can't really get to him. And yet, look at that. He does not know what to do. He is a haunted man. Gotta try something for his team, but are the chances ever stacked against him right now? Not even sure, to be honest, what he's going to try here. He was on the roof, could have rappelled on any facade of the building to enter through any window. Now going down, I was thinking maybe garage, maybe bakery, but it looks like he's actually trying to recover the diffuser. It's a smart move, I gotta say. I'm not really going to expect it to work too well. The unfortunate truth is he's alone, right? So if he wants to plant the diffuser, he's gonna have no cover whatsoever. So the deathmatch situation might even yield better results, or the odds of winning for him in a deathmatch attempt rather than, you know, winning by the objective seems to be better. Even though both prospects are incredibly bleak right now. 1 minute to go. He's still got 2 drones. I mean, who wouldn't in that quick of a round? So he can drone out to take as much intel as possible. He did Seasin right there, I believe. But then again, you know, that's the thing. He's alone, so he can drone. But as soon as he hops off the drone, the defenders can just run away, and then he's going to have to retake the intel again, assuming his drone doesn't get shot out. There seems to be a bit of an audio bug right here. We do apologize for that, even though Ubisoft should be the ones apologizing. But then again, if he was to play, you know, the disinformation game good enough, I don't think... yeah, there you go. They're not going to fall for that. But if they were to start looking for him and to start roaming quite aggressively to get a pick, an open bomb site could have maybe even been possible. But then again, that was not counting on Echo's presence and on Echo's vigilance. So, we are thus going to be in a match point situation. Revenge Nation outdoing themselves compared to last round. Yeah, sweet. He has to be at work for 6 o'clock tomorrow morning. Looking at the time, he is not going to get 8 hours of sleep, and I don't want to say we are likely contributing to him being miserable tomorrow. But yeah, I would not want to be in his shoes. We as the organizers knew going into that I was going to be alone at the end of the session, but it does not intimidate me too much. Revenge Nation, you're back just in time to get to see a 6-1 split and to see me cast alone as Dualrogue had to leave us. So, Dual, not Dualrogue, but Revenge Nation, Orange Team, as we've gotten to calling them in this one game. They are going to go for a second floor hold instead of going into kitchen, which would be typical. Mr. Matt, I will do that. So yeah, they are going to be going here into reading, into dining hall. This defense is still very doable. Most teams would just believe that the odds of winning in kitchen is a bit greater than the odds of winning over here. But if there's somebody that can pull it off, it is going to be Revenge Nation. The key to this defense basically is top floor control, as if you can, knowing that the floor is totally soft, if there's somebody above, they can just shoot at you as the attacker if you're trying to plant the diffuser. Oh, I love Hans. Love you too, Kenny. Love you too. And this is exactly what we're seeing, right? Like there's a breach in the floor there, an impact coming up. So there's no way to enter that bomb site without the attackers knowing, or the defenders, knowing about it. You could maybe want to get like a Montaigne. Oh, and this is shaping up to be a rush by Breakpoint Esports. They're all coming in, but this is just falling apart as soon as it formed. Right there, Trevmark, how many kills did he get? The top floor control is just unbeatable. Squeaky, last player alive, a 1v5 situation. Kenny is actually gonna get the flick shot with the shield. This is gonna be, I gotta say, quite the impressive end to that game. So, congratulations to our winning team. This is going to be an impressive end. Dual, you should have stayed. You should have stayed for 3 more minutes, as this was, oh gosh, quite the round. I don't know what to say. Like, I can't even get into hype casting mode. And the game's already over. Big guy with 6 kills. Trevmark chosen 10 each. This is a heck of a mark, and this is a heck of a note to start the season on. Kenny and his teammates, Revenge Nation, have cemented themselves as the team to beat this season. As I gotta say, they seem quite likely to make it into the playoffs at this point. You know what? I believe I am going to be poking Kenny here, or his teammates rather, anybody who wants really, to see if they want to come in for a quick little interview. So let me just type that away. Kenny, do you or one of your teammates want to come in for an interview? Question mark, and let's see what he's going to say to that. Yeah, hold on, saying we need a replay of that. absolutely, of course. We are gonna get you one of those. So I'm gonna be waiting for Kenny's response here. So in the meantime, let's just debrief that match. Revenge Nation's playstyle, and he's typing, so I'm doing two things at once, which is I can do it. I'm gonna move you to the casting channel. Yeah, so Kenny, let me just drag you in here. There we go. Hello, Kenny. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Well, I'm doing good. That end of round was interesting. First and foremost, do you want to turn on your camera if you have? You do have it.
Yep. Yeah, I can.
Like, so to the producer, just use the scene you usually use when we have only the one caster, and put his camera full screen on the gaming computer, and we're gonna have both of our cameras talking to one another. Thank you. I didn't actually brief the producer on how to run this type of setup because this is like an addition that we wanted to bring, production wise into the next season, having the cameras when we're running the interview. So, oh, by the way, we did see your little message in bullet holes at
Oh,
the.
thank you. Oh man, that's important for me.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, no, I gotta say, like, I was getting hyped up for the last round. Like, there were all five of them bunched on that one door, like all getting ready, sledge on the door, and let's go. But you were all there to shut them down. Just like that double run out, the round before was also quite potent. So two things on that front. I mean, you are remarkably consistent. I mean, okay, here in Cafe, you were smelling blood and maybe you were going a bit overboard. You probably wouldn't pull out that kind of play style against a team that is like not losing 6-1, right?
Yeah, we we technically have that run out set for a different game that we played for the finals of a different league because we knew people were pulled up on that
Gotcha.
side, and that
Gotcha.
seems to be kind of the meta. So when we see the teams that repel up on that side, that's kind of what we do.
Gotcha. You know what? Give me half a second because with the 3 minutes delay, the match just ended. So let's release the points for people who did vote.
Oh man, I didn't
Are
follow. I
you
forgot.
sure? Yes, I am. And there you go, guys. Okay. Yeah. So the one or two things I want to say is, like I was saying, your playstyle is really consistent, except for the runouts. As the defenders, you do tend to anchor onto a larger part of the map than we'd usually see, right? For example, in Oregon, like you had anchors everywhere, uh, which kind of becomes predictable in a sense, right? If you have people everywhere holding cross angles, holding power positions, and basically choking down any kind of movements the attack wants to make, it's interesting. But then again, if there's like a way around your different angles, there's going to be only one or maybe two people in OBJ, which kind of leaves you vulnerable to a targeted rush in a sense.
Yeah.
Since you're playing a lot, there's like a lot of odds of you guys out there. Does that worry you a little bit?
Not really. Mostly because the more we scrim and the more we practice, we kind of realize like, okay, this is how teams when they see how we're gonna set up, this is how they're gonna react, and then obviously we have like an idea of the different types of rushes. Like our strats, we know the weak points of our own strats,
I suppose.
so it's always having like one person ready. For example, I don't care about sharing it with you. The basement hold on Oregon. Most people who extend meeting and kitchen, it's pretty much to prevent people from pushing bunker.
Mhm.
So the big thing that you can do is rush main or rush freezer, but that's why we bring Atlas shotgun, and then we have a
Yeah.
shield. So if they rush, they hit Ella mines, and then they're running into a shotgun close blink, and by that time we're already rotating back to site through hatches that are open.
This
So
does
that's
remind
kind
me a
of
little bit of Blue Stairs in Bank back when it was in Pro League or in the map
right.
pool.
Yeah,
Same thing,
exactly.
like close quarter, LM mine plus LS shotgun at that range. There's no surviving that.
Yeah, very very tough one to win.
Gotcha. And so right here, you have won the first match of the season 4. This was a good start to the season. Do you think you did well, or like, because I feel like you're cementing yourselves as the team to beat? Do you think that this reputation could maybe become intimidating and like have a psychological impact on you guys?
Um, you know, right now it's so early in the league. I'm not even sure. It's been so long since I've been in the league, it feels like. So I don't know a lot of the teams and how good they are really, other than like the weekend leagues, and who knows how serious they're taking that. Um, but I mean, we feel like we're probably the favorites or like one of the best teams in the league. So it's just coming in and kind of shutting down teams. You know, it's a best of 3 format, so each team's gonna get their best map pretty much, unless you're smart enough to ban one of their better maps.
Yeah.
So like I'm believing that Breakpoint's best map is Oregon, and they gave us a good run at it. I think it was 7-5. I don't remember the score, but yeah, I mean it was close.
Yeah,
7-5, I think.
they did pull off a nice comeback.
Yeah, yeah, and it's a very different defensive side of map, so you see that a lot. So we're gonna have to face every team's best map in a best of 3, and then it just comes down to if they get that map, and that third map comes down to it, you never know. So really anybody can beat anybody, which is a good thing.
If I can put it this way, um, do you hope, or did you like them as an opponent, and do you hope or expect to see them back in the playoffs?
Oh yeah, they're definitely a good team. They gave us a run for our money in the qualifiers, and then their organs, like their strats, are very off meta. They have a lot of different things that they bring
They
out
are, yeah.
that's kind of tricky, and kind of tripped us up on Oregon. So I mean, they could beat everybody else in the league. Who knows? Or it's so early, you never know. But they're definitely a good team. Good gun skill, good coordination, and you can tell they've been practicing what they've been doing.
So if the next question, of course, it's going to be a bit more intrusive, quote unquote. So if you don't want to respond, feel free to not. But if I was to kind of invite you to be sportsmanlike, if you were to give them like an advice or to help them out with their next match, what would you say to them? Like in the spirit of trying to see them back in the playoffs?
It's kind of tough because I'm only seeing what my perspective is, but
Hmm.
I feel like a lot of times, especially on Oregon, their attacks, I think they went, I think it was 5-1 for attack, and we kind of threw the one in defense that we had. Um, they kind of seem like early round they don't know exactly what they want to do, and I could be wrong, but like a lot of solo pushing, they're not getting refrags because of it. So I feel like it could work on some teams, but against teams that are a little bit more coordinated and play together, it might be pretty tough for them to get the kills that they need, or get impact kills, because they're just gonna get refragged.
I mean, you're right. Their attacking play style on Oregon was really interesting because, especially in the early rounds, right? I mean, it was a 5-1 for the first half there. They had the early upper hand quite often, right? First blood, I mean, usually was you guys dying. But then they would fail to keep said upper hand, and this is where they kind of crumbled to some extent.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. They were. I mean, they did a good job on the entering because they were so unpredictable. Like you couldn't tell what they wanted to do in the first spot.
Hmm.
But then it kind of just fell apart for them, and we were kind of taking advantage of it. Because we were shooting drones, wasting time, intel, and then they kind of just didn't have what they needed to go for plants or go for kills.
I feel you. Gotcha. So yeah, I think this was pretty much it. I mean, this is going to start to drag on, and the match was scheduled for 9 instead of 8, and it was delayed somewhat as well. So I mean, it wasn't. It was just a two map match, and still it's like 11 something. So
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna leave you there. The like last little shout out I want to make is regarding our tournament series, right? Because we are like we have the league, but the registrations, of course, for that are closed. If you guys want to participate in something DAL branded, every single Saturday night at 6 p.m. Eastern time, there is a single elimination tournament, but they're actually a series. So there's like a season arranged around that. It's just that if you can the one weekend, but you can't the other weekend, you wouldn't get penalized like you would if you were to be registered in the league. So I'm glad to bring that format back. You were actually the one that encouraged me to do so. So this is why I feel it's appropriate to like plug that while you're still in college. Match that has been scheduled will be this Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So not tomorrow, but the day after. Still looking for casters. So I can't exactly tell you who's going to be on air at that time. But